Welcome to Everyday Aromatherapy. I'm Jason Rudi. Join me as we explore how to incorporate the healing properties of essential oils into your daily life. Welcome to today's show. In our last episode, we made stimulating smelling salts, and as the name implies, we use salt as a base for the essential oils. Today I'm going to share with you two simple recipes, but instead of salt, we're going to add our essential oils to what's known as a base oil. A base oil is a fixed oil which is extracted from the fruit or seeds of a plant, where its primary function is energy storage. It's called a fixed oil because, unlike essential oils, which are volatile, meaning that they evaporate readily into the environment at room temperature, a fixed oil is much more stable, and in fact, it can help slow down the evaporation rate of the essential oils in our blend. There are two main categories of base or fixed oil. There's the saturated and unsaturated oils. There's some chemistry involved, but you can easily tell the difference between the two by simply touching or looking at the oil. A saturated oil will be thicker, more viscous, and will be solid at room temperature or slightly colder temperatures. On the other hand, an unsaturated oil will tend to remain liquid at room temperatures. Coconut oil is a wonderful example of a saturated oil because it's solid at room temperature. Additional examples would include shea butter, cocoa butter, palm oil, and palm kernel oil. On the other hand, olive oil is an excellent example of unsaturated oil because it's liquid at room temperature. Additional examples would include safflower oil, peanut oil, apricot kernel oil, and almond oil. With all of the options available to you for base oils, you might feel a little overwhelmed deciding which one to use for your particular project. But don't worry. I always say that aromatherapy does not need to be difficult in order to benefit your life. So, start simply. Start with the oils that you already have in your kitchen. Chances are you've got an olive oil and a corn oil. And if you do any sort of Asian cooking, you're likely to have a sesame or a peanut oil. All of these make wonderful bases for your aromatherapy blends. The only thing that I will caution you about is olive oil. Olive oil does have a characteristic smell of its own. So if you've spent a couple of hours working on formulating a wonderfully smelling essential oil blend, and you really want that to be the predominant note in your final product, you might choose a base oil that has less of a smell on its own. Choosing a base oil for your aromatherapy blend is a very important part of the formulating process, because base oils, like essential oils, have therapeutic properties. And when you're choosing your base, you're going to want to choose one that has therapeutic properties that either complement or are identical to the properties of the essential oils. This is going to create a much more powerful synergistic blend. But don't worry, I don't suggest that you go out and spend a fortune on exotic base oils. In fact, olive oil is a very healing base oil to begin with. As you learn about the different base oils, you'll be able to make a more informed decision about which one to use for your particular project. So don't worry, you're going to be just fine. Now let's get to our first recipe. Here's what you're going to need to make a liniment oil. You're going to need 1 ounce of peanut oil. You're going to need 30 drops of bay essential oil, Laurus nobilis. You're going to need 15 drops of nutmeg, Myrsterica fragrans, and you're going to need 9 drops of black pepper, Piper nigrum. You'll also need a small 5 milliliter amber bottle to make the concentrated essential oil blend. And, as I've already indicated, you'll need a 1 ounce bottle to hold the base oil and the final blend. The original recipe for our liniment oil called for 1 cup of base oil, but I don't have an amber bottle that can accommodate that amount of oil. So what I've chosen to do instead is to take the essential oils called for in the recipe and make an essential oil concentrate. I'll then be adding that to our 1 ounce of base oil. I've chosen to use peanut oil for the base today because it's well suited for aromatherapy blends intended to assist with arthritis and rheumatism. So let's put on our safety glasses and get to the recipe. To make the essential oil concentrate for our liniment oil, we're going to start with 30 drops of bay essential oil, Laurus nobilis. The next ingredient that we're going to add is 15 drops of nutmeg essential oil, Mysterica fragrans. And the final ingredient that we're going to add is 9 drops of black pepper, Piper nigrum. Now I will caution you, Piper nigrum is a bit thin, so it does pour quickly. Okay, go ahead and seal up that bottle. And give it a shake to incorporate the oils and blend them well together. Now once we have our concentrate, all we have to do to make our liniment oil is add a proper dilution to our base oil. Again, this is 1 ounce of peanut oil, which I've pre-measured in this 1 ounce amber bottle. This brings up the topic of dilution, and I'll cover that actually in a separate show. But for our purposes, we're going to make a 1.5% dilution, which is approximately 9 drops of essential oil or essential oil blend to 1 ounce of base oil. Alright. Then just put on your treatment pump top, give it a shake, and there you go. Alright, so to use our liniment oil, it's very easy. You're simply going to take the pump top, give it 1 good squirt, and rub the liniment oil in wherever you might have pain. Very shortly you'll feel a nice warming sensation, and soon the pain and stiffness will go away. Alright, let's get to our next recipe. Here's what you're going to need to make a hair tonic oil. You're going to need 1 ounce of your chosen base oil. We happen to be using safflower oil. You're going to need 2 drops of either German or Roman chamomile. We've chosen Roman chamomile, and its Latin binomial is Chamomillum nobile. You'll need 2 drops of bay essential oil, Laurus nobilis. You'll need 2 drops of cedar wood, Cedrus atlantica. You'll finally need 2 drops of basil, Ocimum basilicum. You'll also need a 1 ounce bottle in which to store the final blend. I've chosen safflower oil to use as the base for our hair tonic oil because safflower oil is a very highly moisturizing base oil. So let me show you how to make the hair tonic. I've already added 1 ounce of safflower oil to our 1 ounce amber bottle. So the first ingredient that we're going to add to this base oil is 2 drops of Roman chamomile, Chamomillum nobile. Okay. The next ingredient is 2 drops of bay, Laurus nobilis. We're going to add 2 drops of cedarwood, Cedrus atlantica. And finally, we're going to add 2 drops of basil, Ocimum basilicum. Alright, so just like with our liniment oil, all we're going to have to do is add the treatment pump top. Again, like with our liniment oil, you're just going to need to shake it to make sure it's all blended together. To use your hair tonic oil couldn't be simpler. You simply take a squirt or 2 and you're going to want to massage it into your hair. Because it's going to be slightly oily, you're going to want to do this at night. That way there you can wash it out in the morning. But you'll see as you use it over time, your hair is really going to be a lot stronger, a lot shinier, and easier to manage. So there you have it. We've got 2 simple recipes that are simple to use and simple to make. That's everyday aromatherapy. We'll see you next time.